What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again, bringing you a little bit more Halo Wars 2 action. So today we're talking about something that we wanted to talk about actually in the our Ultimate Blitz guide, which if you haven't checked it out, it is a longer video. We're upwards into like the 47 minutes, but me and Sloth really, we kind of do a deep dive into Blitz mode. And we give tips not only just for beginners, but also for those of you that have been playing the game for a while, and just overall, just generally good stuff. We talk a lot of update type things. We talk a lot of changes from the beta. We talk about a little bit of just general deck construction, and then we hop into two games there at the end, which is, in my opinion, probably the best part about the whole thing. And we just talked strategy, and we ended up having two pretty dominating wins in there, and it's honestly a pretty good showcase, especially the second game, of just how our strategy's been working and why we're finding some pretty good success. But one thing we want to talk today is veteran level. I want to talk what it is, how to get it for your cards, and then really what differences it makes. And some of this is going to be a little bit vague because we don't have full statistics on everything. But I want to jump into it. Veteran level, for those of you that don't know, in Halo Wars 2 comes in a variety of ways. But generally, if you have a troop that has a higher veteran level, compared to a normal troop, say something that you just spawn in or you just create from your base, because this works in regular multiplayer as well, a veteran unit is going to have more health, it's going to deal more damage. It's just overall generally going to be a better unit. Now, veteran status, the way it works in regular multiplayer and in campaign, is as that unit stays alive and gets kills, it's going to increase its veteran level, and then when it does that, again, it's going to see those benefits of better damage, so on and so forth. In Blitz specifically, probably the most common time you will actually see veteran level play a role, because in multiplayer and even in the campaign, usually you're not getting units that get enough kills to upgrade their veteran level. It's very rare, at least from what I've seen from the multiplayer we've played and all of the campaign that I've done. Very few times have I seen any of my units actually get a veteran level upgrade. But in Blitz, you're getting veteran levels, and you'll see this if you jump into a game when you open card packs and you get multiples of the same card. Now, I did some research. Some people that have spent a little bit more time in the game than me have been able to figure out that they're not necessarily as a level cap for cards, but what they're kind of considering what they call tournament ready, which is kind of like the top tier level that you're going to end up being able to get a card to, where you're going to see the most improvement, and then after this level, the improvements will continue, but they'll be very, very minor, is going to be level 7. In order to get a card to level 7, one specific card, you're going to have to obviously open it the first time, and then you're going to need 20 copies of that same card in order to upgrade it all the way. And the way the scheme generally works out is whatever level it's at is how many cards it needs to get to the next level. So if it's a level 2, you need 2 additional copies, and that's going to get it to level 3. Once you get to level 3, you're going to need 3 additional copies, and that'll bump it up to level 4. So on and so forth, all the way through up to level 7. Now again, once the card gets to level 7, it's again the term that I see being thrown a lot on the forums and out in a lot of posts is tournament ready. At that point, it's near its height of its capability increases from each level, and then it can level up beyond that. But again, the upgrades and what you're seeing as far as the boost for it are going to be minimal compared to what they've been receiving in the past. Now, this comes with a little bit of vagueness because, we'll see cards and you'll get them upgraded and they'll tell you that damage went up, shields went up, health went up, but it really doesn't ever specify what the starting values are and what the next level's values are, and so on and so forth. I will say that overall, in the grand scheme of things, if you're within a couple veteran levels, of your opponent with your troops, you're generally going to be fine because a lot of strategy plays into it. A veteran level unit, even a high veteran level unit that has a weakness to something else that you have brought in, it's still going to be weak to it, and it's still going to take a lot of damage, and it's not going to be very effective. When you start to see the difference is when you have somebody that has a lot of cards, and their veteran level is up, and they're really kind of bunching them together, and you're a couple levels down from them, then it can start to play a little bit of a role. But again, there's so much strategy in this game that I wouldn't worry too much about it. Don't instantly get freaked out if you see people bringing in veteran 2, veteran 3, or even veteran 4 level cards, because a lot of us, if you've played the campaign through, and you've played a little bit of Blitz, and you do some daily challenges, you're going to level up some cards. I have some stuff. Me and Sloth both have cards upwards in the 4s, and I think some on their way to level 5 already at this point, just because of how many packs we've ended up opening. So again, it is going to give you a slight advantage, especially if you really understand your troops. It's obviously better to have cards that have slightly better damage and slightly better health, but I don't think each level up is going to make a huge difference, as long as overall player skill is relatively the same. And again, unless you see like somebody's entire deck has 3 or 4 veteran levels above yours, is only really the time that you might start to see where you're losing some fights that maybe go 50-50, or maybe you thought were slightly in your advantage, that don't end up turning out that way. But again, back on it, we don't actually have any statistics for these cards, and I think that's one thing. Me and Sloth are going to put out a video that just talks overall general impressions of this entire game here in a couple days, just to kind of give our feedback and see what the community thinks, see what our subscribers, what you guys out there think about it. After you've had a couple days to get your hands on it, play some campaign, play some multiplayer. But one thing I want to bring up now, because we're talking about it, is I think they did a little bit of a disservice to not give us at least some kind of statistics, some kind of little graph. I don't know what it is, but just something that talks about what the base stats are, and then when it levels up, you can just kind of see just how much it's actually improving, just so we have a general understanding. There's a lot of people out there, especially I did some research on the forums today when we were kind of thinking about doing this video, and I found a lot of people are asking for the same thing, and people are saying, hey, well, I want to create a deck, but I need to know what the difference between a veteran Cyclops is and a regular Cyclops, and if I have a regular Cyclops that's 3 veteran levels higher than my veteran Cyclops, which one's better to bring in? And I think that's a really valid point, because you have a lot of cards that share similarities, or the same card, and maybe have just slightly different abilities, and we can kind of understand what the ability does. But if you have no basis for what the actual statistics are, then it's hard to compare the two, especially when you have you've been able to level up a few of your cards, and they may be the weaker of the 2 units, but it might be a couple levels higher. So I think that's one thing maybe moving forward they can implement, even just a small stat screen. I think it's capable. The card library, it's big. It's not that big that they couldn't do this. So I think that's something moving forward that I would like to see, because again, it would just kind of lend itself to the fact of how do you determine what to put in your deck, and then what difference is leveling it up actually going to make. Now, as far as actually getting these, it's pretty simple. In order to level up your cards, you just got to open more of them, kind of like I said earlier. So we're going to jump in. I've got one so lonely little pack here. We're going to see if we can level something up just by opening up some packs. And there we go. This is a perfect example. So we got Bloodfield Locust. We just got it to level 2. In order to get it to level 3, you'll see 0 out of 3 right down there below the level up bar. So that means, again, to get it to that 3rd level, I need 3 additional cards. Same copies of this same card. And we say HP, shields, and ARM go up. Which, again, that's all great. You're telling me that the shields and the HP are up. I just don't know by how much. I don't know how much better this card at level 2 is compared to its level 1 version. And I'm excited that I'm leveling this stuff up, because now, again, for those of you that don't know, when you call these cards in, whatever level it is going to be whatever veteran level it spawns in with. So you spawn in a regular card, it's going to be a 0. You spawn this in, It should be a veteran level 1. So it's just getting that extra upgrade, and that's how you can tell, and that's one way that you can kind of tell somebody's starting to bring them in. They'll have slight little markers above, and we'll jump into a quick 1v1 match just to show you a little bit of this. But again, I would love to see some statistics, even a graph maybe on the right hand side of the screen, or something that just says, hey, it was here before and now it went up, or maybe just a chart or something, or it's just statistics and numbers that give some basis to a value, or a percentage. Maybe it's HP went up 10%, just something, because there is some kind of calculation. They did figure out there's obviously, baseline calculations behind all these cards that determine what happens when they level up, but we just don't know. So we'll go through, and here's another great example. Armor Warthog speed and HP is going up. And again, not every level up obviously does the same thing. So now this card, compared to the Bloodfield Locust, it's not just getting more, they're both getting more HP, but this one's getting more speed. So it would just be kind of interesting to also see maybe what the glide path is, for unlocking the next level up to the cards, as well as far as what's going to upgrade. And we got a lot of them, so this was a great pack to open. Purely random here. I'm doing this, recording this straight live, so we just jumped into this. This is working out nice for me, but we got damage and HP going up for the Armored Marines, which is really nice. And then we got Ghost in the Machine. Now, I'm glad I got this card because this is something else that I want to talk about. So, the units that you spawn in, again, getting multiple copies is going to upgrade them. That's great. You're going to get, again, upgraded statistics, so it'll be nice to see that. I couldn't honestly tell you what a lot of the leader powers do when they level up. Now, I'm going to make some assumptions here, and I'm going to assume that any damage dealing leader powers that you have, whether it be mines, whether it be the turret, whether it be, my favorite with Isabel being the Mac Blast, I'm going to assume that all of that stuff is just getting more damage. Maybe in case of the turret, that's probably a slightly bad example. That might get some more health in addition to damage. But I'm just going to assume they do more damage. They're just going to be more lethal, which makes 100% sense. Again, it doesn't ever really define that. I've leveled up a few of the cards, and from my knowledge, it doesn't ever define that. But in the case of a leader power like Ghost in the Machine, where it's not dealing any damage, and I'm taking momentary control of enemy mechanical units, what does a level up do for me here? Now, again, I'm going to make some assumptions, and I'm going to say that this probably gives me some additional time where I'm taking control. And for some of the leader powers that don't, level up or don't do specific damage when they level up, maybe I'm going to assume that it gives it a little bit more time, that effect lasts a little bit longer, maybe the effect's slightly more powerful, for the instance of, the Fury, where it's giving the units more damage and speed. Maybe it gives them a slightly higher increased percentage of damage and speed. But we just don't know, and I think that's the kind of information that if you want to deep dive into this and you really want to start to build a really quality deck based on the rare packs, just random rare cards that you're going to end up opening, I think they kind of owe it to us to give us that information and at least try to give us some baseline so we can understand what the level ups do, and really start to compare card by card, unit by unit, and leader power by leader power, just so we know what's the best out of our arsenal to use. Now, again, I have my favorites, and I have things that I know that are just going to be good, but again, I think there's a little bit more information they could provide that would really give us a better deep dive, especially as we start to get later into the game. Everybody's fresh in it now. Everybody's just happy that they're being able to play it. Everybody's excited when they level up cards, but I think in a month or so, when we start to look and we've opened hundreds and 200s of packs, which is honestly not going to be that hard as long as you're doing knocking out a couple of dailies, challenges every day, knocking out a couple weekly challenges, and just generally leveling up and winning some games. In a month or so, we're going to have opened a lot of packs. We're going to have a lot of cards that are leveled up, and when they bring out DLC, new DLC cards are going to come in. They've already talked about doing that, and it's going to be hard to determine, well, do I use my really powered up, leveled up, whatever XYZ unit, or do I use this new thing that might be base level 1 or base level 2 if I open up a couple copies. So I just think that's something that they need to take a look at. That's something that's kind of been on me and Sloth's mind, and hopefully something that they'll kind of refine with their DLC in the future. That's really it, guys. That's kind of what I wanted to cover. That's what I wanted to talk about. Veteran levels is one of those things, again, I think it can make a slight difference, especially if you got people that are similar in skill. We are going to jump into a 1v1 here. And yeah, and I'll point out here, I'll call some units in, and I'll try to show you some units that have a higher veteran level comparatively, and just what the markers is. Again, I have played in 1 or 2 games where people have clearly bought some cards, which, again, if that's prerogative, you can go in the store, you can pick some of that stuff up, and you can absolutely use those. But again, you know, I've also seen kind of the argument that this might turn into kind of a play-to-win scenario. I think that might be true, maybe in the long course of the game, especially brand new. It's not going to be just because everybody's still getting into it, and even if you buy a bunch of packs, you're opening random cards out of the library. There's nothing guaranteed. There's nothing allowing you to level up 1 or 2 specific cards faster than anything else. You might buy, you know, 20 packs, and you might not get but 2 copies of something that you want to level up, and 10 copies of the Watchtower, for instance. So yes, I think you could spend an incredible amount of money to give yourself a slight overall advantage, but I don't necessarily know that it's going to be 100% play to win. I think it's going to be, you know, you have to be lucky in conjunction with, you know, spending some money, or you have to be like me and just open really awesome card packs all the freaking time, and have some Spartans that are already level 2, and Aatrox that's level 2, and some that are almost level 3. So again, luck of the draw there. We're jumping into 1v1 as Isabel. I just want to show you something real quick, just so to help you guys kind of determine, and then we'll leave you at that. Wanted to kind of make this a shorter video. Again, I always make a split here, guys. You can definitely do this. I'm actually going to go 3-way split here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to move this guy around here. And I'm going to go ahead. What are we using here? This guy's got Marines. So you see the 3 right here? This guy's got some leveled up freaking Hellbringers. We'll go grab C. That was really it. That's all I wanted to show you. Is this guy right here. Leveled up Hellbringers. Bye-bye. Units. And they gone. They's gone. Gonna get this in there. He is gonna go grab that energy. That's totally okay. At this point, I feel pretty good about this this already, just for the sole fact that I actually think I can go in here and probably do some damage. And again, he's calling in quite a bit of units here that have some veteran level. These guys are all level 3, so he's definitely opened some packs, which is totally cool. And yeah, so we'll just kind of leave you there. So I just want to again talk about veteran level, just kind of talk it through. My Vulture sitting at level 2, which is pretty cool. You know, how to end up picking this up, what you're going to see as far as, you know, getting it leveled up. And again, a lot of this is based, really, to be honest, kind of purely on luck of the draw of the cards that you're opening. And I think we'll kind of continue to see that, at least for the initial stages of this game. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions at all specifically relating to this topic or Blitz in general, please let me know. Throw them down below. I'm happy to talk about this. Again, I do really enjoy this game mode. It is one of my more favorite game modes that they've implemented for this game. And I just love to generally talk about this game, and especially these kind of niche topics and some of the more in-depth stuff. Is really fun for me. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, let me know down in the comments if you are looking for anything else Halo Wars 2 related. We've got a ton of stuff on the channel, you know, achievement guides, campaign walkthroughs, and a whole lot of other stuff. So be sure to check it out. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and this is the kind of content that you enjoy. And yeah, and we will see you next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Doc with Average Gamer Guys. Check you later.